Hello, friends. It's Miss Bowers, and today we're going to do a little bit of reading together, just like you did yesterday with Miss Carlson. Now, yesterday when you were reading with Miss Carlson, you were looking at the book Toot and Puddle. In this book, you were looking at the different things that these characters were thinking, or saying, or feeling, or maybe even things they were doing. And you were looking at how sometimes in a book, the characters aren't going to have the same experiences. They aren't going to be thinking or saying or doing the same things. So today we're going to look at another book, and we're going to be looking for ways that the characters are maybe the same, or maybe the ways the characters are different. And we're going to be looking at the characters' experiences. That's really just a fancy word. We're going to be looking for the different things that they're doing, or the different things they're saying or thinking while we're reading. So the book we're going to read today is from a bigger book called Frog and Toad Are Friends. But this book actually has some different stories inside of it. So the story we're going to read is called Spring. Now this is kind of fitting because that's the season that we're in right now, even though sometimes it gets pretty warm and it feels like summer. So our story is called Spring, and it's about two characters named Frog and Toad. So I want you to be listening and thinking about how these characters are different, and how they're thinking things that are different, or maybe saying things that are different, and maybe the ways that they're talking will tell us how they're feeling. So I want you to listen and see if we can find some things that are different about these two characters. Frog ran up the path to Toad's house. He knocked on the front door. "Toad, Toad," shouted Frog, "wake up, it is spring." "Blah," said a voice from inside the house. "Toad, Toad," cried Frog, "the sun is shining, the snow is melting, wake up." "I'm not here," said the voice. There's Frog. To me, Frog sounded pretty excited that it was springtime. Frog walked into the house. It was dark. All of the shutters, all the blinds, like curtains, were closed. "Toad, where are you?" called Frog. "Go away," said the voice from a corner of the room. Toad was still lying in bed. He had pulled all the covers over his head. Frog pushed Toad out of bed and pushed him out of the house and onto the front porch. Toad blinked in the bright sun. "Help," said Toad, "I cannot see anything." How do you think Toad is feeling? Yeah, he doesn't seem very excited to be getting out of bed, not nearly as excited as Frog. "Don't be silly," said Frog. "What you see is the clear, warm light of April, and it means that we can begin a whole new year together, Toad." "Think of it," said Frog. "We will skip through the meadows and run through the woods and swim in the river. At night we will sit right here on this front porch and count the stars." "You can count them, Frog," said Toad. "I will be too tired. I'm going back to bed." Look at Toad's face. What is his face? Remember, we talked about using the illustrations to help us understand the text. What does his face tell us about how he might be feeling? Right, he looks like he might be pretty sleepy, but Frog looks excited. He's ready for springtime, but Toad is not. Toad went back into the house. He got into the bed and pulled the covers over his head again. "But Toad," cried Frog, "you will miss all the fun." "Listen, Frog," said Toad, "how long have I been asleep?" "You've been asleep since November," said Frog. "Well then," said Toad, "a little more sleep will not hurt me. Come back again and wake me up about half-past May, about halfway through May. Good night, Frog." Does it look like Toad wants to get out of bed and enjoy springtime? Mm-mm. "But Toad," said Frog, "I will be lonely until then." Toad did not answer. He had already fallen asleep. Frog looked at Toad's calendar. The November page was still on top. Frog tore off the November page. He tore off the December page, and the January page, and the February page, and the March page. He came to the April page and tore off that page too. I wonder what Frog is thinking. He even tore off the April page, even though it was still April. Then Frog ran back to Toad's bed. "Toad, Toad, wake up! It is May now." "What?" said Toad. "Can it be May so soon?" "Yes," said Frog. "Look at your calendar." Toad looked at the calendar. The May page was on top. Now, was it really May? It was still April, but he was trying to trick Toad to get out of bed. "Why, it is May," said Toad as he climbed out of bed. Then he and Frog ran outside to see how the world was looking in spring. So here's what I want you to think about. And I'm going to ask a few questions, and I want you to answer them just like we would do at school. How was Frog feeling in this story? Right, Frog was feeling pretty excited. He was very glad that it was spring and he was ready to get out of the house. But how was Toad feeling? Right, Toad was not excited. He did not want to get out of bed. He wanted to keep sleeping. He did not like that Frog kept bothering him. So in this story, these two characters, for the most part, they were doing the same things. They were in the same place. But they were not thinking the same thing. Frog was thinking how excited he was, and Toad was just thinking about wanting to get back in bed. They were not saying the same things. Frog was saying, "Come on, let's go, it's so pretty." And Toad was saying, "No, I want to go back to bed." And they were not feeling the same things. Frog was feeling very excited, and Toad was not feeling very excited. He was feeling pretty sleepy. So in a book, we can look at the ways that characters are different and the ways that they experience different things. Just like in real life, if you and one of your friends went to the park and you wanted to stay on the swings for most of the time, but your friend went on the slides, you would have two different experiences doing different things, even though you were in the same place. So today, while you're reading on Reading A to Z or you're reading a book at home, I want you to be looking at the different characters in the story and be looking for the ways that their experiences are the same or maybe their experiences are different. And you can talk about those things with your mom and dad or grandma or grandpa. All right, guys, we love you so much and we miss you and can't wait to see you again soon. Hope you have a great rest of your day and keep working hard.